Let me ask you something powerful. What if just a few words could completely change your life? What if the difference between a life of limitation and a life of abundance was the language you speak, not just to others, but to yourself? Sounds simple, right? But here's the truth. The words you consistently use don't just describe your life. They shape it. Words are the software of the mind. If you want to reprogram your results, you've got to reprogram your language. This is not theory, this is transformation. Change your words, and I promise you, you'll change your world. Your language shapes your identity and your emotional state. Every word you speak carries energy. When you say, "I'm exhausted," your body listens. It prepares to shut down. But what happens if you replace "I'm exhausted" with "I'm recharging"? Suddenly, you shift from powerlessness to purpose. The words you use to describe yourself become your identity. If you constantly say, "I'm not good at this," or "I always fail," you reinforce a belief system that programs your behavior to match. Language is not just a reflection of your emotions, it's the architect of your emotions. People don't realize this, but language is the link between your brain and your results. When you say, "I can't handle this," your brain shuts down possibilities. But when you say, "I'll find a way," even if you don't have the solution yet, your mind opens. It starts looking for strategies. The quality of your life is directly connected to the quality of words you use daily. Words like devastated, humiliated, rejected create a tidal wave of pain and limitation. Shift them to challenged, learning, or redirected, and you reclaim your emotional power. This isn't just about positive thinking. This is about psychological leverage. If you want to raise your standards, start with your language. Speak to yourself like a warrior. Speak to yourself like someone who's already broken through. Because when you do that, when your words change, your beliefs follow, your actions shift, and your world transforms. Every breakthrough begins with language. Let me give it to you straight. We don't experience life as it is. We experience life as we describe it. Every time something happens, your brain looks for language to give it meaning. And the words you choose in that moment define the emotion you feel, the meaning you assign, and the action you take. Change the description, and you literally change your reality. Let's say something goes wrong in your business or relationship. You can say, "This is a disaster," or you can say, "This is a turning point." Same event, completely different emotional outcome. Why? Because the word disaster activates fear, anxiety, and helplessness. But turning point activates hope, strategy, and movement. One makes you freeze, the other makes you fight forward. Most people live in a reactive loop. They don't choose their words choose them. And if your vocabulary is filled with emotionally charged, limiting language, then you're unconsciously wiring yourself to suffer. You feel stuck not because of your circumstances, but because of the words you keep using to define those circumstances. You're not stuck. You're in a season of strategy. You're not broken. You're becoming. You're not failing. You're refining. This shift isn't just motivational fluff, it's neuroscience. Words trigger neural patterns. The language you consistently attach to your experiences shapes the wiring of your brain. If every minor inconvenience becomes a nightmare, you're telling your brain to panic. But if you train yourself to label it as a test or a moment of growth, you train your brain to stay resourceful under pressure. I've coached people through breakdowns, financial ruin, heartbreak, and in every single breakthrough, the first shift wasn't action. It was the language. Because when you change the word, you change the feeling. And when you change the feeling, you change the decision. That's how you create new outcomes. So what's the story you're telling yourself? What are the words you're attaching to your identity, your past, your goals, your current struggle? Are they empowering? Are they accurate? Are they driving you to grow? or dragging you down. You want to win in life, master the words. Because when you own your language, you reclaim your power. And once you have that, you can reshape any experience, any day, any challenge into something that fuels your greatness. Let's talk about that voice in your head, the one that never shuts up. It's always speaking, always interpreting, always telling you something about who you are and what's possible. And here's the kicker, your self-talk is either a coach or a critic. It's either building you or breaking you. The words you say when no one's watching are the ones that shape your destiny the most. Most people walk around saying things to themselves they wouldn't dare say to another human being. I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. This never works for me. Now think about that. If someone followed you around 24/7 whispering that garbage into your ear, how long would you tolerate it? You'd cut that person out of your life. But when it's your own voice, you let it slide. You let it dig in and program your identity. If you want to shift your results, you've got to upgrade your self-talk. You've got to become the head coach of your own life, not the angry commentator. It starts with awareness. Listen to what you say to yourself in moments of stress, uncertainty, failure. Are you fueling belief or feeding doubt? Are you giving yourself a lifeline or burying yourself in self-judgment? I've worked with Olympic athletes, CEOs, soldiers, artists, top of their game. And the one thing they all have in common, powerful internal dialogue. They don't wait to feel confident. They speak confidence into themselves. They don't wait for certainty. They declare it. They use language to create a state of mind that pushes them forward even when they feel fear, even when the odds are stacked against them. When you shift yourself, talk from "I can't do this" to "I'm learning how to do this," you change your physiology. You move differently, you breathe differently, you make different decisions, and those small decisions compound into massive outcomes. Here's the truth. Confidence isn't some magical trait reserved for the chosen few. It's built through repetition of powerful language. Your mind is always listening, so feed it a story that moves you. Speak like someone who's already succeeding. Use words that pull you forward, not drag you down, because the words you whisper to yourself in private, they become the results you live in public. Change that script, and everything changes. Let's be real, most people don't even realize they're using language that weakens them. They say things like "I'm stuck," "I'm overwhelmed," "this is killing me," and they think it's harmless. But every disempowering word you use sends a message to your nervous system. And over time, those messages become your truth. Your vocabulary is not neutral. It's either lowering your energy or raising it. It's either limiting you or unleashing you. Words carry weight. Say something enough times, and your brain believes it. That's why the first step in elevating your mindset is to start eliminating vocabulary that shrinks your power. Words like impossible, hopeless, "I'm just not good at this," or "I always mess this up." These aren't just complaints. They're commands to your subconscious to shut down, to give up, to retreat. Tony Robbins always says, if you want to change your life, raise your standards. But standards aren't just behaviors. They begin with your language. You don't get a powerful life with powerless words. You don't build success while speaking the language of defeat. So you've got to catch yourself in the moment. When you say, "I can't handle this," stop. Replace it with, "I've handled worse. I'll figure this out." When you say, "This is just who I am," interrupt it. Say, "This is who I was. This is who I'm becoming." The truth is, every breakthrough starts with a pattern interrupt. And your language is the fastest tool to break your patterns. When you remove toxic phrases from your vocabulary, you create space for clarity, strength, and momentum. It's like detoxing your mind from the inside out. You want to elevate your life. Start by elevating the words you allow to come out of your mouth. Eliminate words that create excuses, stories that justify failure, phrases that label you as less than you are. Instead, start using words that demand growth, responsibility, and action. Use words that speak to your future, not your fears. Your vocabulary is your code. Change the code, and you change the results. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about what you do. It's about what you say over and over again. That determines who you become. Speak like a leader, like a creator, like a force of nature, and your world will rise to meet that version of you. Certainty is not something you wait for, it's something you create. And one of the most powerful tools for creating it is your language. The words you use in moments of uncertainty don't just reflect how you feel. They determine how you feel. You want energy, you want momentum. Then you've got to speak with power, with purpose, with certainty, even when you don't have all the answers. Especially when you don't have all the answers. Let me tell you something I've seen over and over in coaching high performers. The most successful people don't just take massive action. They speak like the action has already succeeded. They use words that generate motion. Instead of saying, "I hope this works," they say, "I will make this work." Instead of saying, "This might be too hard," they say, "This is a challenge I was built for." That shift in language changes their emotional state, and when you change your state, you change your performance. Words like "I must," "I will," "I choose" create urgency and ownership. They pull you into the present moment and ignite your power. On the other hand, words like "I'll try," "I wish," "maybe" are weak. They drain energy, they cause hesitation, and hesitation kills momentum. You want to change your life. You want to break through. Then you have to start speaking as if you already believe it's happening, even when you're scared, even when the odds look bad. That doesn't mean you fake confidence. It means you speak what you want into existence until your brain starts to believe it, your body starts to feel it, and your actions start to align with it. Momentum comes from movement, and movement starts with mindset. Empowering language creates that mindset. It turns doubt into drive. It transforms anxiety into action. It helps you show up stronger, speak louder, and move faster toward your goals. So next time you feel like quitting, listen to your words. Are you talking yourself into power or into paralysis? The moment you flip that switch, the moment you speak with force and clarity, the game changes. You go from reacting to creating, from drifting to driving. Your life is moving in the direction of your dominant words. Choose words that create fire, and the results will follow. How you speak to others is a mirror of how you speak to yourself. If you're uncertain inside, it shows up in hesitation, in soft language, in scattered words. If you're powerful inside, it shows up in your tone, your certainty, your presence. People feel it. Communication is not just about words, it's energy. It's intention, it's conviction, and it all starts with what's going on in your internal world. When you walk into a room, when you lead a team, when you speak to your partner, your energy either uplifts or drains. Your language either leads or confuses, and that language is built on how much control you have over your internal dialogue. If your inner voice is weak, doubtful, or critical, then even if you try to sound confident, your communication won't land. People don't just hear your words, they feel your truth. When your inner language is strong, when you constantly feed your mind with empowering beliefs, bold words, decisive thoughts, your communication becomes magnetic. You speak with clarity, you influence without forcing, you inspire because you're speaking from alignment, not from fear. That's leadership, that's influence, and that's what separates the average from the extraordinary. Think about this. In moments of stress, how do you respond to others? Do you lash out, withdraw, or speak with blame? That's a sign your internal language is overwhelmed. But if in those same moments you can choose words of calm, strength, and vision, that means you've trained your mind. You've done the work. Your communication becomes a weapon for progress, not a reaction to chaos. The highest performers in the world, whether they're entrepreneurs, athletes, or leaders, they're not just great at talking. They're masters of emotional language. They use words to redirect, uplift, and command attention. And that only happens when they've mastered their own inner voice first. So if you want to upgrade your relationships, your leadership, your ability to influence, start by upgrading the words you say to yourself. Because when you speak powerfully within, you communicate powerfully without. That's how you shift rooms, that's how you change outcomes, and that's how you create a life that doesn't just impress others, but deeply fulfills you.